In today's lesson, you're going to learn how to use the present simple tense to talk about the past. Are you ready? Now, this lesson was inspired by another video I did for you in which I taught you how to use the past to talk about the future. If you want to watch that video, click up there. But today we're going to look at how to use the present tense, the present simple tense, to talk about the past. Now, this is quite a strange concept, using the present simple to talk about things that happened. And we only use it in certain situations. So I'm going to give you these 4 different situations that we use the present tense to talk about the past, and give you a few examples so that you can see it in action. And the first one is related to football. And when you're watching football on television in English, or if you're listening to football on the radio in English, the commentator, the person who is describing what is happening, uses the present simple to talk about things that have just happened. So the commentator doesn't say things like, Henderson passed it to Salah, Salah shot, and Salah scored, even though when he's speaking, these things happened in the past. Nope, instead he says, Henderson passes it to Salah, Salah shoots and scores, where each action is in the present simple tense. The second situation where you will see the present tense being used to talk about the past is in newspaper headlines, or not necessarily newspapers, but if you read the news on the internet, the headline, which is the title of the news article, this uses the present tense to describe something that has already happened in the past. So, for example, man saves cat in tree. Lion escapes from London Zoo. Politician lies about money. These are all stories of things that happened in the past, but because it's a newspaper headline, they use the present simple. The next scenario is with anecdotes. An anecdote is just a funny story, something that really happened to you in your life, which is funny, and you tell your friends about it. An anecdote. And often when we're telling an anecdote to somebody, we use the present simple tense, even though it happened in the past. For example, so I walk all the way to his house, I knock on the door, and guess what? He's not there. And then, a minute later, someone taps me on the shoulder, and it's him. Look at all the verbs in that story. They're all in the present simple tense, even though this story clearly happened in the past, simply because it's an anecdote and it's a funny story that I'm telling to a friend. Now, a really interesting alternative of this. I don't recommend you speak like this. I don't speak like this, but I know people who do. And this is what happens. They use the third person singular when they're talking about I. So instead of I go, they say I goes. Yep, it's crazy. I'm not sure if it's a regional thing. It's definitely not formal. Every English student learns that it's not I goes, it's I go. Yet, some native speakers, when they're telling an anecdote, use I goes. So I goes all the way to his house, I knocks on his door, and guess what? He's not there. Crazy, but hey, don't be surprised if sometimes you hear native speakers saying I goes, I walks, I takes. Okay, another situation where we use the present simple to talk about the past is with jokes. And we love telling jokes. We do. There are many types of jokes, and some of these types of jokes always begin the same way. Like, for example, a man walks into a bar. That is a very common way of starting a joke. A man walks into the bar, and not just in that type of joke, but in most types of joke, you will use the present simple, even though we're talking about a story, an imaginary story that happened in the past. A horse walks into a bar, takes off his coat, orders a beer, and the barman says, "Why the long face?" Anyway, so now you know how to use the present to talk about the past. I really want to teach you how to use the past to talk about the future. So join me in that lesson and I will teach you all about that there. And if you want to learn more English tenses, click down there. Thanks for watching and bye for now.